The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah has fractured past strategic frameworks. It has transformed the border region into a intense testing ground for new military tactics as well as humanitarian survival. And as the Israeli Defense Forces expand their footprint beyond the Litani River, the capture of the strategic high ground like the castle signals a definitive shift in the war's geographical limits. To discuss more on the changing dynamics of this conflict and the shifting red lines, we are joined by Fouad Izadi, who is Associate Professor, Faculty of World Studies at University of Tehran. He's also columnist and political commentator. Mr. Izadi, now Israel's initially had stated that the goal was to clear Hezbollah from the border area up to the Litani River. Clearly, the IDF has now pushed well past it. The question is, does Israel's capture of the Beaufort castle mark a definitive breach of this very boundary?
You know, Israeli talked about a greater Israel. Netanyahu has talked about this. Even Americans, the U.S. ambassador in Israel has talked to Israel. Greater Israel means what you see. Taking over Lebanese territory. They have taken over Syrian territory. They will, if they are allowed, and if they continue this policy without limitation, they will take over Saudi territory, Jordanian territory, Egyptian territory, Iraqi territory. Israel is a genocidal regime, an expansionist regime, an apartheid regime. They have killed more than 400 civilians during the season since April. They have no respect for international law. That's why they engaged in that genocide in Gaza. So overall, people of this region, children, women, families are suffering because the United States and Israel are on a rampage attacking countries in this part of the world.
Yes, and with US now pushing a new proposal to cool down the Lebanon front, what specific leverage, in your viewpoint, does the US actually hold to enforce restraint, that too when previous diplomatic efforts have failed to prevent the conflict from spiraling into a deep ground incursion?
You know, the weapons that Israelis use are given to them, generally for free, by the United States. So if the U.S. really wanted to stop this aggression against Lebanon, they could just stop sending weapons to Israel. The fact that they are not doing that, the fact that they're actually increasing their weapons supplies to Israel shows that they're not serious about having peace. And they use these type of statements about cooling down tensions for propaganda purposes, for political purposes. This war is an American-Israel war on Lebanon, and Americans are fully engaged in all the deaths that we have witnessing for the last number of months.
Mr. Azadi, so would you say that this new proposal by the US looks like a farce? And also, if we were to talk about the humanitarian aspect of all this, United Nations has confirmed that more than 1.2 million people have been forced to flee their houses since the March escalation. The question here is also being the second part of this: can multilateral bodies better protect civilians who are trapped within the combat zones in Lebanon?
You know, multilateral bodies, UN, could do a lot. The only problem is that the US has this veto power at the UN. Israelis have been killing UN soldiers in southern Lebanon. If you put what you see today in a historical perspective, Israelis have been attacking Lebanon from the 1940s. And they have been attacking other neighbors from the 1940s, since Israel was created. So there's nothing new. The Israelis had extensive occupation of Lebanon, attacks on Lebanon, before the 1979 revolution in Iran. They like to blame Iran for what they are practicing in Lebanon, but even during the Shah's time, in Lebanon, killing people in Lebanon. So overall, the solution to this problem is going to not be very easy, because the international bodies like UN cannot do much. As long as Israelis have US support, they will continue this type of aggression against them. And the people in Lebanon have no other choice but to resist, because Israelis have violated all types of agreements that they had previously since the 1940s. So overall, I think what we are seeing is crime against humanity,
Right.
and this is a lesson for countries to realize having relations with Israel, trade with Israel, help Israel in manners is going to be against international law, because the Israelis are engaging in this type of activities, and helping Israelis is not a good idea. It doesn't look good in international scenes. The Israeli Prime Minister is under indictment for war crimes from ICC, and realizing being associated with war criminals is not a good idea. It's one way to stop this type of carnage.
Yes. Mr. Izadi, rightly you've mentioned about the political aspect of the ongoing conflict. I also wanted to touch on the technological aspect of it when it comes to those fiber optic drones which have become Hezbollah's primary weapon against Israeli soldiers. In fact, the IDF chief of staff has even described the drone threat posed by Hezbollah as a major challenge. The question is the IDF at this point also struggling to counter this evolving technological threat on part of the Hezbollah camp?
Yes, this is something that Hezbollah is using. They didn't have of technology before, but please remember that Hezbollah is not an army. It's a group, it's an organization. Young people generally trying to defend their homes. Israelis have followed this scorched earth in the last number of weeks, just attacking any type of building. If there is a building in a village or in a town in southern Lebanon, it becomes a target for Israelis. They have targeted journalists, they have targeted hospitals, ambulances, and this is the nature of the Israeli regime. They have no limitation. Hezbollah has managed to fight in a limited manner. Otherwise, Israelis would not advance so much inside Lebanese territory. And yes, using that strategy has helped Hezbollah to do things that Hezbollah was not able to do previously.
Mr. Azadi, point taken. And yes, as you mentioned, the border lines have been breached. But the question here is whether US, if at all, will be able to get a deal on part of both the sides or not, and whether that proposal is even accepted is the question that needs to be answered. For now, appreciate you joining us and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.